For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod Driveline Components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
It's time for an inside look at the most powerful motorsport on the planet. WFO Radio NHRA Nitro. This is WFO Radio.
Hey everybody, WFO Radio is on the air live from Gainesville Raceway, the historic 54th annual Amalie Oil NHRA Gatornationals. And we're going to be on for the next hour or so, maybe even a little extra. Going to check in with some of the drivers. We're out here watching the test. It is going to be mega. The voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, going to be joining us a couple of moments from now, along with some other special guests. Justin Ashley going to be joining us on the show. Ron Capps may pass by. Paul Lee may pass by. Austin Prock may pass by, or nobody will pass by. And I will just be here talking to you, taking your comments. Either way, we ask you to share the show because this is how we are kicking off the 2023 NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series season. Now, before we get started, we got a lot going on. There's the big Josh Hart Fan Fest going on down there in Ocala, Florida. It's about 50 minutes south of Gainesville, but if you're coming from the south, you should swing by and stop by 6 to 9 p.m. and check out Bernie's Speed Shop. It's going to be great. There's going to be food trucks. There's going to be fireworks. There's going to be music. There's going to be all kinds of stuff going on out there at Bernie's. I'm going to be there. Somebody named Don Garlitz is going to be there. A brand new Hall of Famer named Daryl Gwynn is going to be there. Daryl Gwynn's going to be there, right? Daryl Gwynn is going to be there. Did you see Daryl get inducted into the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America last night? Wow. How emotional was that? He brought down the house. But coming out to Bernie's Speed Shop, here's the list. Josh Hart, Don Garlitz, Cruz Pedregon, Spencer Massey, Frank Hawley, Daryl Gwynn, a guy named John Force, who has won the Gatornationals 8 times, and Robert Height, all going to be out there at Bernie's tonight. So plan on being there. Come on down. Bernie's Speed Shop, American Classic Horsepower. And I'm going to check out those drivers, but I'm also going to go crawling all around Bernie's and see what's up and what kind of capabilities they have in their 100,000 square foot place. If you're coming to Gainesville, make this a big part of it. Mention Justin Ashley going to be on the show. I want to tell you about the folks at Phillips Connect. If you're in the transportation industry, smart trailer technology. It's as simple as that. The more connected you are, the safer you are, and the more on time you are. They've got load sensors, light sensors, brake sensors, wheel hub sensors to keep you safer and more connected. Go to phillips-connect.com to find out more information, or if you want to reach out to me, WFO Joe, that's fine, Joe at WFOradio.com, and we'll be hearing from Justin on this show. FTI Performance Transmissions in DeLand, Florida. We do well with the Florida-based companies. Oh, yes. FTI, Paul Lee, going to be joining us on this show. Certainly, hopefully, he is out here testing, ran in the 390s already. But if you're looking for a .90 transmission, a Power Glide, Pro Modified, FTI has just announced the FTI Challenge in Pro Modified, combination of reaction time and elapsed time to get a bonus check. Really cool. We'll be telling you more about that throughout the season and throughout the year. But big things happening, FTIperformance.com. Check out their website. Total Seal Piston Rings. 2, not 1, but 2 trackside tech talks going on here at Gainesville. So if you're coming out, the tech talk is free with your ticket. You can come into Matt Hartford's pit. You can learn about ring seal. As simple as that. So much information is shared. So when you put together your engine, like I am putting together my engine, and if you've been following, you know that the thing has become a little more challenged. We'll get into that later when Reinhart comes on. I'll share the news with him. But TotalSeal.com, come out to the Trackside Tech Talk Friday 11, Saturday 9:30 a.m. TotalSeal.com. And the folks at Foggit, yes, Foggit. If you have a high-performance racing engine, don't be like me. Store it properly. That's right. You want to spray it with a little Foggit down the Venturis into the spark plug holes. If you're going to put it away for the night or if you're going to put it away for the winter, folks at Foggit. Go to fogit.com to find out more information. Gary Stinnett, Steve Williams got a home run of a product for racers, firearm owners, and anyone that is trying to slow the corrosion that goes on inside your racing engine. Not to mention our great friends at samtech.edu. They are a big part of this thing too. Frank Hawley's drag racing school. Frank, man, that was a big part of the Darrell Gwynn Hall of Fame induction last night. Stories about Frank and Marvin Rodak, 817-924-6821. We've got a second cam so we can check out the track. A little pedal job out there by the red factory stock Camaro. And we are going to be all over this deal. But it's time to bring on our first guest. That's right. We're going to bring on our first guest, who is hopefully soon to be a top fuel racer in the NHRA. And it's my job. Like, I'm going to try to will it to happen. She is the FIA world record holder, Miss Ida Zetterstrom, joining me now. What's up, Ida? Welcome to Gainesville. How are you?
Hi, thank you. I'm very good. Thanks for having me.
So what is your record over there? Get me up to speed. The record in top fuel, you're the ET record holder. What is the elapsed time record over there?
378.
378. So you guys are picking up the pace over there. That's pretty exciting. And you were at the U.S. Nationals last year, and you've been showing up more and more, getting me and others hopeful that we're going to see you on a regular basis or a semi-regular basis out here in the NHRA. So why don't you share it with the WFO universe out there? What is your plan?
Yeah, I'm working on it. I don't have anything done for over here, but I definitely have a goal and a dream to be over here one day. And the first step of the plan is to try and start in a few events over here. My hopes are that I can make that happen at the end of the year, to be at a few of the events, maybe run 2 events at the end of your series, which is after my series has ended over in Europe. So that's the first step I'm working on. And then I'll try to use that as a stepping stone to be over here more.
Now there is, precedent, the Johnny Lindberghs of the world. There is kind of a beaten path already from your home country. It's Finland or Sweden, or what is the official?
Yeah, I'm born in Sweden. I live on an island that is Finnish, so I'm half Swedish, half Finnish. I raced for Finland the last couple of years, but Sweden before, and I'm actually going to race for Sweden this year again. So I'm a little bit half and half.
Well, I nailed it, right? Exactly. And we've got everybody out there in the chat section weighing in, of course. Ida, how did you get into drag racing? Like, what was the start? What is the road for someone to get interested and into drag racing over there in Finland and Sweden?
Oh, for me, it started way early. I was 3 weeks old when I was at the track my first time. My dad and my family has been into it for a long time. My dad was working with several teams, engine builder. So I've just been around it for a very long time. I started when I was 8. My dad built me a Junior Dragster, and that's where we started. Then we switched up to a modified Junior Dragster at the age of 12. I did that until I was 16. And by 16, I licensed in Supercomp Dragster. I was without a ride for a few years before I got back into competing again, but then on the bike side of stuff. So I've done super street bike for about 6-7 years, and that's basically where I have had most of my success going into top fuel after that.
But smashing the gas on a top fuel dragster, like I've never done it. Explain it. I love to hear different explanations of that intense experience, accelerating 0 to 120 miles an hour, less than a second. Nothing can prepare you for it. Explain to the audience out there, what is it like to you?
It's like nothing else. And just like you say, it's hard to explain it. Stamping on the gas, just that is a moment of beauty itself. But then when the clutch locks up, I mean, that's where you really, find just heaven. So that's when the when the clutch locks up, that's where everything just keeps on going. And when you thought that it was hard when you started, or like that it accelerated hard in the start, you can just double it basically when the clutch locks up, and then it just keeps on going. And what I love is that it just never stops accelerating. Like, it just always want to keep on going, and I'm all there for it.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So we want you here full time, obviously. And hopefully somebody out there, wants to start a marketing partnership with you. And we're trying to make that happen. But the NHRA tour, you've been out here a lot, though. You've been spending a little time. I think you were hanging out with the Salinas family out there in Indy and others. The perception of NHRA from abroad to being in the pit area, being in the middle of it all, are they on par? Or is it what you expected it would be? Is it bigger? Is it not as big? Give me your assessment of what your experience has been in Camping World Drag Racing the past couple of years.
Yeah, I was at my first NHRA drag race in 2019. That was the first time I went. So I haven't been to that many, but it was just like I imagined. It was really big. Everything was, huge over here. The crowds, the teams, the performance, everything is big. And European drag racing is absolutely fantastic. But this is just next level. Like, there's more competitors. You're running even better numbers. The tracks are fantastic. And everything that I love to do in Europe, this is just like adding even more to it. And that's what drives me to get over here. And just like just like we've talked about before, like being around the best in the business, that's how you become the best in the business. So like, if you want to evolve and be a better driver, be a better racer overall, you have to surround yourself with the top of the line and the top of the business. And that's what NHRA are doing with the Top Fuel program here and everything they're doing. Everything is, if you look at it in Europe, we have like 5 FIA events. I have 8 events I'm going to run fully this season, but 5 of them is like competing for the championship. While over here, you guys have 22, 23 events, 21. Yeah. So, it's when I say that I have a season under my belt, it's nothing for you guys. That's not even a half of a season. So if you want to be the best at what you do, you want to come over here, because I want to see time. I want to experience. I want to line up against all the others that are the greatest of the sport. And yeah, that's just how it feels when I'm around the pit here. Like, the atmosphere is just that everything is huge and top of the line.
It really is. And this weekend is going to be unbelievable. The kickoff to the 2023 Camping World Series season, the Gatornationals. This is one of our biggest events. Have you been to this event in the past?
Yes, this is actually my third time I'm here. So the other times I've been here, it has been a little bit of a rain situation, but 3 times is a charm. So I have my fingers crossed for this one. Me too.
We want everybody to share the show out there, of course. Tell me about the FIA tracks. I know about Santa Pod. Obviously, we've got some great friends over there. But when you run that tour, I know Hockenheim is a track, and there's some really interesting facilities, and they party, and there's tailgating. And explain the FIA drag racing scene, because it certainly looks very fun. And I know many of our WFO listeners out there, because of the internet, they log on and they check out what we're doing. I definitely want to check out what you guys are doing. So give me the vibe of FIA drag racing.
Yeah, and just like you said, that's one of the things I definitely love about European drag racing. There's huge crowds when we actually go to the events. And like you say, everybody partying, having a good time, just loving the sport. And usually there's only 1 or 2 events a year in each country that runs, the top fuels and everything. So people definitely come from all over the country, and even from countries around, just to see that event, which means that, when we ran Hockenheim, I think we had 80,000 people on a weekend. So that's massive crowds. And we do the night shows where we run late at night, in the dark, and you can see the bunny ears of the top fuels and the jet cars and everything.
Wait, what'd you call it? Bunny ears?
Yeah, like the header flames.
Header flames. We call it like night wing is what we call it, right? Night wing, header flames, bunny ears.
Yeah, that's what we have said at least before, like the bunny ears. But yeah, that's a cool thing. And like, the atmosphere over there is fantastic. And we run in Sweden. We have exhibition runs in Norway. The Norwegian crowds are usually really great too. The team I run for is actually Norwegian owned, so it's like coming to a home track basically when we get there. And then we have the Hockenheim races. We run in Sweden, and of course, like you said, the Santa Pod races. Track is really good there. We usually see fantastic performance and huge crowds, and everybody is happy, walking around, having a beer, enjoying the show. And yeah, I really do love that.
We've got to grow it. We want to grow drag racing worldwide is what we want to do. Now, you said something that intrigued me a little bit, that you're going to race for Finland or race for Sweden this year. Explain that. Is that an FIA thing where you have to like rep a country?
Yeah, actually you do. So the country you have your license in, that's like the flag you're running underneath. And since I'm half Swedish, half Finnish, I've had a little bit of an issue what to choose. I live on a Finnish island. I do have a Finnish passport, but I don't speak Finnish. And since I'm born in Sweden and I speak Swedish, and it's, I've run for Sweden before, that's what I'm going back to, because it's easier for me to kind of align myself with the Swedes, talking their language. Everybody understands me when I speak Swedish. And yeah, I'm a little half and half, but but yeah, this year I choose Sweden to run for.
Excellent. So concrete plans for this year. You were telling me a couple of days ago, you were down at the Pro Mod race in Bradenton, and that, there have been some opportunities, but you're trying to be strategic with selecting your opportunities. That's got to be difficult because you want to drive a car and people are maybe offering their cars, but you want to pick the right car so that when you get in that car, you can showcase your talents and abilities as opposed to, dealing with a difficult situation. That's got to be a tough balance.
Yeah, and it's a lot of aspects coming into play for that, because even though you might be able to been offered a ride that it's cheaper than to run for one of the bigger teams, if you aren't able to show that you can qualify or that you can run well, I still have to find marketing partners and, brands to align myself with for this, and to be able to offer them something where we might not qualify, or we know that we don't have a car that should run strongly enough to go rounds. I don't have a lot to offer for, my marketing partners. So that's what I'm looking most into. Like, I want to be with a team where I feel like I have a good car, good people around me, and a car that I know that if I do my job, I'm going to be able to qualify and we should be able to go rounds. I do understand that it's very hard to get into, one of the top teams right away. And I'm used to having to work my way up, but I do want to have good equipment around me, good people around me, and to be able to show my partners that we have a good shot and that I'm going to make them look good. That's what it's all about. So.
Well, you're doing a great job already. We wish you the best of luck. If there's anything we can do at WFO, please come back. Keep us up on what you've got going on. We would love to see you out here part-time, full-time in the NHRA. And to me, it's all about growing the sport of drag racing. When we can bring in our brothers and sisters from whatever, we're all family in drag racing. And so good luck. Have fun this weekend.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There she goes, Ida Zetterstrom, with us here on WFO Radio. Yeah, handheld mic. This is WFO Lite. I packed it in a briefcase. And get ready for Whiplash, guys. Here it comes. Right? Whiplash. Alan, tough act to follow right there, Alan. Ida Zetterstrom, but listen, Reinhart has lost 50 pounds, and we didn't amputate a leg or anything. But this guy is like a different person. Couldn't tell on the live stream from your shop. But, man, look at this guy. What happened? That is amazing. What's up, AR? How are you?
Well, let's see. I have to try to follow that. She's prettier than I am. Yep. She's more accomplished than I am. Yep. She's better spoken than I am. Yep. She's smarter than I am. Yep. Why am I here?
Because you're the voice of the National Hot Rod Association, Alan. That's right. That's right. But yeah, I agree. But see, that's for me. I love our sport. You know that. We got to find her a deal. Like, there should be someone out there that says, man, that's a really great opportunity for all of the reasons you just said. She's a good driver. She's well-spoken. She's got 100 things going for her, and she wants to be here so badly. That is exactly what corporate America and international corporations need.
WFO worldwide.
WFO worldwide, baby. We're already worldwide, and we're trying to, check in the pockets.
How many more of those you got to sell to get her out here?
A lot, but they are on sale right now. Like, you can get this shirt for like $16, right? Yeah, I'm repping my own gear. People are liking it, by the way. They're liking the fire shirt.
You should rep your own gear. Why shouldn't you? I'll sell you this shirt for $500. But self-addressed stamped envelope and cash, and I'll even wash it if you want.
Do the proceeds go to Ida?
No.
Oh, well, then there it is. All right. Well, exactly. All right, everybody out there, I see all checking in and saying what's up, whether it be Justin or Monica or everybody is out there. I'm not going to be as engaged as I am because I got to hold the microphone. Normally the mic holds itself. But all right, here we go again. Except we're starting the season in Gainesville for the second time. This is the first time under what I would call normal circumstances. It's the 54th Gatornationals. We got a lot of extra stuff going on with the Pep Boys All-Star Call-Out and just everybody, Pro Mod, everybody starting here at the Gatornationals. So just give me the 50,000-foot view as we get ready to go again.
Give us good weather, and we'll take it from there. Last year when we came in here and spent 3 days getting flooded and then really didn't get the whole Gatornationals experience. And I hated it for the fans. I hated it for the competitors, for, the guys that come in here with a one qualifying session or, in some cases, Pro Stock Motorcycle, no qualifying sessions. That just isn't right. So the weather looks like it's much more promising this year. The racetrack's in great shape. The fact that they have had the pro teams in here testing for the last couple of days, the Baby Gators last week was a big success. So I'm looking for a good kickoff. I think that, I think there's a lot of people that left here last year feeling like they had some unfinished business at the Gatornationals. And obviously there's a bunch of new news and a bunch of things coming out that we're all going to be making a splash with this week. So it should be a big one.
Baby Gators, give me a little breakdown, rundown. I was down at the World Series of Pro Mod in Bradenton. That was amazing. Spencer Hyde won $100,000. It was so interesting to me because there are so many really quick and fast race cars that I knew nothing about a lot of these guys. And so I was able to expand my knowledge, and they knew, NHRA, and they knew me, and it was fun to watch them. But we all had our eye on what was going on here, back and forth, checking out the live stream, watching what's going on here. I know you guys had a little weather, but give me a little Baby Gators post report.
Well, I think one of the biggest stories out of here was the alcohol dragster thing. 19 cars on the property trying to qualify for 8 spots. And Julie Naddis ended up winning the thing, right? Big surprise of Randy Meyer car. But Summer Richardson made her debut in alcohol dragster, qualified. She ended up actually racing Julie in the first round, so she had her short day. Cody Crone made his second ever start. He had also run down in Louisiana at No Problem Raceway, but got his first round win against Tony Stewart. So big day for him. But it was really good racing in the alcohol dragster ranks. In alcohol funny car, Matt Gill looked like he had the best car when he unloaded, and he ended up leaving with the trophy. So I'm certainly he's going to make the argument that he had the best car all weekend. There were a couple of them that kind of were closing the gap as the weekend went on, but the competition was pretty stout there as well. It was just top to bottom a really good race. We had one on-track incident, but the driver was able to get out, walk away. So that's, the most important thing. But other than that, not a lot of cleanup, not a lot of downtime, little weather issue on Saturday, but it was really a pretty solid race. Class eliminations, which is always fun. It was really a solid race.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out who's driving Scott Palmer's car.
Top dragster racer, working on his crew. His name is escaping me right at the second, but I met him out there because Scott was part of the Pro Mod race. And McLean, I believe his name, Jacob McLean. Don't quote me on that, but he is getting his first laps in a top fuel dragster right now. He's going to be part of the crew all year long. He's going to run some races and run on Monday in some cases. And he's got eyes on being in top fuel when Scott can't. And what a nice kid. It's a bummer that I'm just spacing on his name right now. But we even talked this morning, and he's like, wow, man, I'm really feeling it. And so we're seeing him out there on track right now on our second cam. And that's exciting. But you know what? Good looking young kid. Same deal as Ida, right? Like, man, if we could get a sponsor for each one of these people who are going to be a quality race car driver, we'll be in really great shape.
Yeah, I think the sport's in a good place right now. The television coverage is strong. The crowds have been strong. The interest from outside of the normal drag racing world has been strong. And I think that's something that gets other people taking a look. So, hopefully some of these young up and coming future stars will have an opportunity to go out there and sell themselves and make something happen, because we'll always take more cars out here.
Yeah, well, definitely take more cars out here. So let's stay with this shot as we get ready to send Nitro down. The, smelling Nitro for the first time. Oh, look, Bent Blomberg is out there. He had a good run a couple weeks ago in Top Sportsman. Congratulations. Best of luck to all the Gatornationals racers, says he. All right, here we go. Call it, Alan.
Washed out a little bit, pushed over towards the wall, and he lifted just past the 330-foot mark. I'm not sure, where he is as far as in the licensing process, how far he was trying to go, but I think they did, what they needed to do, come up and go through the routine, get the thing to make a launch, a little bit soft, but get it to go down the racetrack. That's the key. You just need to get experience.
And having run top dragster and all, sometimes I wonder, how are people going to handle a situation like that? Well, the car started to go to the wall. He lifted off the throttle. That is, to me, experience and intelligence and wisdom when you're out here on the racetrack. You got to show everybody that you know when to step off, not only when to step on. Did you happen to see any of the Darrell Gwynn induction last night at the Motorsport Hall of Fame of America? I know you were there last year. DG went in last night. I happened to find it on the stream and was like tweeting it out to everybody. It was really emotional, and there were a lot of drag racers there. You were there last year. That's a pretty crazy experience.
Well, the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America is huge. And yes, it's like Terry Vance told me last year, there's a lot of horsepower in this room. I did not see it. I'm going to have to go back and look it up. I was kind of texting along with Larry Dixon last night, who was a Motorsports Hall of Fame America member and who was down there, who was part of it. So I haven't had a chance to see it, but I will definitely go back and take a look. Yeah, when I was down there last year, I did the induction for Vance and Hines, and after I left the stage, the guy that walked up behind me was Roger Penske. And I'm going, yeah, there's a lot of horsepower in this room.
Really was. I watched the stream. It's out there on the web, guys. You can check it out. Daryl was awesome until he said, he shouted out to Linda Vaughn. He's like, Linda, you got me through high school.
All righty then.
Yes, exactly. And I think there was like a quiet chill over the room. Like, is he saying what I think he's saying? And the answer, is left to everybody else out there. Good stuff. Let's talk Pro Stock. They're down there testing in Bradenton. Right here, we've got nitro cars and we got factory showdown cars, which is kind of interesting because the prep is similar, I guess.
It is similar. The factory showdown cars like almost a radial prep, which is a little over the edge for what you would normally do for a nitro car, top fuel, or funny car. But what they're doing here, which is pretty common at a lot of racetracks when they go testing, one lane is prepped for nitro, and the other lane is prepped for the factory showdown guys, so everybody can kind of get what they need. There have been times like down in Las Vegas where they would prep one set of lanes for nitro cars, one set of lanes for Pro Stock. So everybody can kind of get what they need, and that's what they're doing here.
Excellent. A lot of changes in factory showdown, by the way. Like, the team that was DSR has kind of been dissolved, and those drivers have gone in their own directions. And Mark Powick is now running out of the Libisher trailer with Barton Power. It's just very interesting. We've taken the Etch-a-Sketch and really shaken it up. I learned a little bit about it last week, and there's a lot of interesting stories. AJ Burge is tuning a whole bunch of race cars. Oh, look, there goes Kevin McKenna in the background. Kevin won the NMCA race down in Orlando. This guy is pretty amazing. Every time he gets behind the wheel of a car, he wins it.
Of course he did. I mean, you don't even have to look that up. Hey, there was an NMCA. Was Kevin there? Yeah, okay. Who won the other classes?
It's true. It's amazing. This guy is like drag and drive, and he's NMCA and everything. All right, so we got next one on track. I don't know who that is.
That better be the Parts Plus driver.
Yeah, because there's Jim O.
Yep.
Jim Oberhofer, Clay Milliken.
I guarantee you this. He's got a smile on his face. Woof. Rattled him loose out there about 100 feet or so. And there you have it.
Yeah. But he does have a smile on his face because he's Clay Milliken. We've seen Clay a couple of times. Clay Milliken bought a 2006 Pontiac GTO with 1,300 some odd miles on it. Like, that's amazing that car even existed. It's like a triple collectible. And, no Holden, no Pontiac, like that doesn't exist anymore. They made very few, and he got his hands on it. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, he's going to do an LS swap. I understand.
Exactly. Speaking of bad news, you want to see the latest information on Project Pontiac?
Bad news.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. What's the bad news?
Okay, well, I'm going to put the photograph on the screen for everybody to see. You'll probably be able to see it right there. The whole block is cracked everywhere. The block is junk. It's a boat anchor. Project Pontiac stumbles out of the gate, and we got to find a block, Alan.
Well, you should be able to find a block.
We'll find a block, but it would have been so much easier if we didn't have to find a block.
Well, at least you found that out before you needed a block and a crank and pistons and rods and all the rest of it. I was trying to be encouraging. There was at least 3 or 4 times last week during the Baby Gators when I sent a closed circuit message to Extended Automotive and Racing to turn the damn stream off and get to work on Joe's engine. So I don't know if it helped or not, but I tried.
Well, I think it might have, because that's when I got the photographs. I looked down and I saw Gary's working on, pulling it apart. And I look down and I see, photos from Gary. This is going to be so exciting. And I blow them up and I'm like, oh, no. And it's, it's cracked all over the place. But so here's the quick theory, though, just so you understand. We have factory motor mounts that are welded, so they're solid. But I've talked to several people like motor plate, mid plate. We do not have a motor plate in a mid plate, and all that torsional pressure on the Pontiac block. Several people have suggested that could be why they cracked. This is the second experience we've had with this.
Okay, I'm not being a Pontiac expert. I will take your word for it. But who makes aftermarket Pontiac blocks? Does Indy?
No. Kaufman makes one. All Pontiac makes one. There's a couple of companies that do, but they are really expensive. And there are other issues too, like I don't want to talk about castings just yet, but I've been doing the research, put it that way, doing the research, digging into it to find out exactly what's happening. We talked in depth. Yeah, look at Dugenet. He's like, man, that stinks. Everybody's been so supportive. Meanwhile, You got Mike Salinas out there on track. Talked to Mike this morning. He says they got some new parts, new pieces, and they're excited. Right off the trailer, he went to 60. Let's see what he goes right here.
Pointed left, went left, put a cylinder out, and they shut it off.
That's what
somebody should send. I think somebody should send to a block. I mean, Joe's birthday's coming, and it's only what is it? 296 days till Christmas.
Yeah.
Somebody send Joe a block.
All aluminum, please.
Yeah, of course. That's like mine.
Right.
Yeah, piece of cake.
We're going to figure it out, right? Like without a challenge, like it's not a good story. The whole thing about the Project Pontiac was that it's going to be a story. We're going to do a build project. You can't have a build project without
a block.
Without a block and without some sort of negative stumble. So Jeff says he's like, I might have it, right? I've had a couple of people already offer it up. So we're going to see how that goes. I want to spend a little time talking pro stock. Erica Enders, Richard Freeman were down there, the mountain motor thing at the Pro Mod race. But as soon as that wrapped up, they pulled the 500 cubic inch stuff, posted on our Instagram Reels an interview with Chris McGahey. That was interesting because speaking of, you always joke about the voodoo doll and having a seance and everything. That's what they needed. They have gone back to the car that they shelved last year, halfway through the season, because it was a great mystery. They're trying to figure it out. Been to one test already. Mason's car, new look for Mason's car, by the way, just some different colored stripes. He says that one's running pretty good, but they're still chasing his car, and I don't know what's going on down there. But we'll see. But that's a team that we need them to do well. Otherwise, we got 15 of the 16 cars coming out of two camps.
Well, McGahey's fun because he's kind of an antagonist, and he's certainly has not been afraid to create some ripples over there in the pond, and that just makes it more fun. The fact that I don't think he and Richard Freeman exchanged Christmas cards, even though they're both from down in the Division 4 area, have raced each other a long time, and it's more fun when he's out there, and so hopefully they'll be able to get it squared away. But yeah, there's so much that can happen that'll create just chaos in a pro stock car. Not like, it's like you almost wish it would just burn to the ground so then you could know you're starting over, but trying to find whatever that stupid little thing is. And it's, I've seen guys go 30, 40, 50 runs and then go, I can't believe it. We didn't check that. Well, you did check it 16 times. It just checked okay the last 15. So hopefully they'll get it squared away, but it's more fun when they're running well.
Michael Heiner was down there, and they had a problem similar to that as they've been chasing for 2 years. And Derek Kramer was like, I feel great because I ended off the season feeling that we had found it, and we had actually found it. Like, finally, we had actually found it. And so Michael had said that everything that he had tested over the last 2 years now has to be tested again because they have gotten to the core of the issue, and all the things that he was trying to fix it, we don't know if they worked or not. So that's, I guess, good thing. But they got a lot to try.
Well, there's a reason everybody in pro stock has got such a big collection of headers and manifolds and other stuff laying around, because you try it and it doesn't work. Well, you don't throw it away. You just put it over there on the shelf, and then you go this, and then maybe you change a camshaft and you go, well, let's try that again. Well, let's try that again. Well, let's try that again. And if you've been chasing a gremlin in the car, then you legitimately don't know if that clutch setting that we took a couple of swings at, well, is it really better now that the car is fixed? That 4-link setting, is it really better now that the car is fixed? So you do have to go back and you have to try all that stuff all over again. That's why pro stock is so much fun, and that's why they spend so much time testing, because you simply don't have enough runs at the national events. You have to get out and make the test runs.
Sean Langdon on track. Doug Coletta's car looks awesome. I had taken some photographs, guys. I had intended on putting the photos on the screen, but ran out of time. But man, Doug's car looks awesome. Running the canopy. I don't know about Sean. I didn't see it. No canopy for Sean.
No, at least it wasn't yesterday. There's a lot of them that have new looks, and some of them are just kind of subtle but big changes. Like Antron Brown's car looks very different, but it looks very good. And it's going to take a race or two to get used to just first glance and not have to do a double take. Pretty close to what Salinas did. Got out there just past 100 foot, kind of drove its way into smoke. But it's practice.
Coming up at 1 o'clock now. So it's the heat of the day. It is hot out there, and this is going to be interesting. But, Sunday, right, we're going to be live on Big Fox right before the NASCAR race. kicking off the season, the 54th Amalie Oil NHRA Gatornationals, the first race of the season. Like, this is big. I love the fact that we've had this long test leading into it. So everybody is going to should be ready to go when we light cars on Sunday morning.
Yeah, and kudos to the NHRA brass for making the decision to allow the testing to happen here. You know, there was a rule in place for so many years that you could not test on a national event track within a week or 10 days leading up to. And just because of the way the world is now, from an economic standpoint, from a travel standpoint, from everything else, to allow the teams to come down here, get set up, do their testing, test on the track they're going to race on. It's open to everybody. So, you know, it's not an unfair advantage that, gee, only the guys that have $10 billion budgets can come down to do it. But I think it's also going to make for a better show, because the teams will come in here Friday for Q1, not coming in going, okay, let's, you know, tiptoe through this a little bit, but coming in here with a little bit of confidence on what they're going to get from the racetrack and being ready to jump on it.
Ron Capps, world champ in funny car, hopefully going to be joining us here in a few minutes. You know, I ran through the pits. I asked him, hey, come upstairs if you can. But if you can, I totally understand it, right? Like, that's the kind of thing. But this guy is going for 3 championships in a row. In hockey, if you score 3 goals in a game, it's a hat trick. They're calling it the Capps trick, if they were able to do it. Yeah, he rolled his eyes. I'm just reading from the press release, okay? But you can't say three-peat, because Pat Riley immediately rings the register. But that would be something special. They've got some changes on the team. Madeline has retired. T-Buck has moved up to that position. Some guys have moved around, but clutch has stayed the same. And they've got all the same parts and pieces that have won the championship 2 years in a row. Give me your outlook for Ron Capps here in 2023.
Why don't they call it a force Pete? He did it first.
The force Pete?
Yeah.
That's when you win 4 or 3.
Well, they said Capps Pete. I mean, John's won 3 in a row. It's not unprecedented. I think it's going to be a battle. I mean, you look at everybody in funny car. Of course, it was last year too. But like we talked about last week, I think Robert Height and that team has got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, because they feel like they gave it away last race of the season. You know, Matt Hagan, I think ditto. I think they feel like they were in a position to win the championship and maybe gave it away the last couple of races of the season. I think Tim Wilkerson's got something to prove with having, you know, the extra budget out there and the stuff now, that he doesn't have any excuses about, you know, why I can't go lean on my stuff, why I can't do what the other guys are doing. And, you know, Cruz Pedregon car, he would have liked to start Gainesville the day after Pomona last year, the way that thing was running. I don't think he's slowed down any. You know, Lee Beard's here with the team this week while they're testing, so he looks like he's good and ready to go. The Coletta guys are going to have a chip on their shoulder. There are so many cars out there that are tired of hearing about Napa and Capps that you got a target on your back when you got the number 1 on your car. When you back it up, you got a bigger target on your back.
Austin Prock on track as we speak. And that's kind of an interesting story. Spoke with Daryl Gwynn last week, and we were talking about Chris Cunningham. And he is a product of Miami Hollywood Speedway. He's a product of the Gwynn team. He's a product of South Florida. And he's getting, you know, what I deem to be his biggest and best solo opportunity to go out there and lead this team along with Joe Barlam. Let's see what Austin does on track here at Gainesville.
Pretty solid. I'd like to see the incremental numbers, but it definitely looked good. 3801 on the scoreboard for those of you that can't see that. 326 miles an hour. One of the cars that did take it all the way to the stripe. A lot of guys are out here really only making like 660 runs anyway. So, you know, the numbers that come up on the scoreboard aren't always conducive of what the team's working on or what they're trying to do. But I like we talked about a couple weeks ago, I'm really interested to see the changes that were made over there at John Force Racing. You know, they had a very strong car. They, being Austin Prock's team, had a very strong car through the countdown at the end of the season last year. Made a big move in the points after, you know, limping in, so to speak. And, you know, Robert's car was very strong last year. And the fact that they, you know, split up the brain trust on Robert's car to try to shore up Austin's car, I think is an interesting move. And they did, you know, basically the same thing as far as with Brittany's team. Taking Max Savage off and moving him over. So it'll be very interesting to see. You know, they had 2 teams that really, I think, achieved at the level that they expected, and they had 2 teams that didn't quite. for season long. So they made some adjustments over there, and it'll be very interesting for me to watch the first 5, 6, 7 races of the year when everybody kind of gets acclimated to their new home.
Well, that's one of those decisions that I think is just totally results based, right? If they go out there and they perform really well, everyone's, yeah, man, they're geniuses. And if they don't, they're going to say, why did you break up something that was working? It's going to be, again, that's why we watch. That's why we check out this series. Max Savage now on Force's car. We'll see exactly how it all works out, but really interesting. And I'm just excited to be going again, Alan. Like it was the extra break made us more intense about going out there and racing, but I think that it's good to really want to start.
Well, it's definitely good for me because as a contractor, when I'm not racing during the winter break, my income falls off considerably. My outgo doesn't, especially with Project CUDA and with, Project Alan's an idiot, so let's buy this, or hey, look at something shiny. So for me, it's good to, 1, get back to work and have some money start coming back this direction, and 2, to not be home where I can just see shiny stuff and start ordering it.
I agree. All right, here we go. Cruz Pedregon on track. Won the finals now at In-N-Out Burger Raceway, and it's going to be the In-N-Out Burger Finals. I can't wait for that. Like right now, Alan, we are starting the season, but in a blink of an eye, we're going to be there. It's going to be the craziest thing. I'm sure we'll be talking, saying, I can't believe we're here in Pomona at the finals. But Cruz, like that was one of the more dominant performances we've seen.
Well, don't forget, we'll be in Pomona in a couple of weeks. In Gainesville, it seems like it'll be forever before we get to Pomona, but we're going to be there in a couple of weeks. And you talked about that Sunday we're leading into the NASCAR race. This is another reason that I need an SR71. So I could come here to this race and then go to Phoenix for my hometown NASCAR race that I'm going to miss because I don't have an SR71. Get Reinhart an SR71. Get Joe a block.
Yeah, put him in and put the block in the back of the SR71.
Yeah, I'll throw it out when I'm passing Kansas. It's be the light.
The Arc. What a great plane. Have you seen that thing in person? Isn't there one at Pima?
Yeah, there's one at the Pima Air and Space Museum down in Tucson. Yeah, it's a pretty spectacular piece of hardware.
It really is. All right. We've got one more call for Reinhart, and then we got...
You're going to kick me out just because, no, look, the funny car champion showed up. Let's throw Reinhart out.
Exactly. Well, we're going to see what Cruz... Mr.
That would be you, Ron. That would be you.
Ron Capps has entered the building, but we're not. We're focused on Cruz Pedregon. Oh, there he is. Capps is in the shot.
Cylinder out.
Well, so interesting how Lee Beard got involved with that team, and just they picked up. I don't want to say they picked up immediately, but they kind of did.
No, they really did, and the relationship goes back to McDonald's days. So, I think Cruz felt like they were kind of stuck in a rut. And sometimes you just need a fresh set of eyes. You just need somebody to come in and go, hey, look, put the square peg in the round hole over here to kind of get you pointed back in the right direction. Cruz obviously has a lot of confidence in JC because he's still there. And, JC, I think, gave his complete blessing. Bring me in another set of experienced eyes, somebody that can help me with this. And they clicked pretty quickly. So no reason to bust up that relationship.
There you go. AR, great job. Can't wait to call a race with you this weekend. Everybody, if you haven't got your tickets already, if you're anywhere within, 500 miles, right? You come down to Gainesville, you come be a part of this. We got the Big Garlits Hall of Fame on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Pep Boys Top Fuel All-Star Call Out. We're going to set the field for the Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge by Mission Foods. And then we're headed to your track in a couple of weeks, the final one, which I'm hoping it's not.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to getting home and getting out there too. It'll be, there's a lot going on here this weekend. We're also doing a lot of added value kind of things for the fans that I'm not going to give everything away here, but if you come, I think you're going to get a little bit of a different vibe as we go through the weekend with some of the things, some local flavor things, and some of the other stuff that we're trying to incorporate. Also, before you throw me out, I want to tell Berserko Bob, thanks for the lunch invitation. I was down in North Palm Beach on Monday. I went down there to have lunch with the living legend, and it was very entertaining. A lot of beer was drank, a lot of stories were told, and it was very entertaining. So I appreciate Berserko Bob inviting me down for lunch.
I hung out with Berserko one time in the tower at Palm Beach. Is there a story that you can share? No. There's not even one story you could share. Unbelievable.
No, but if for anybody who doesn't know, Bob Dorr was the track announcer at Englishtown in the 70s. And through a pretty wild period of time, both in racing and just in society and in some of the stuff that was going on. And he partook in all of it and really had a big time with it. So, but just he is still very much a character, 76 years old, and still very much a character, and had lived a very crazy part of the drag racing history, and it's fun sitting down and talking to him about it.
Alan, thank you very much. Appreciate it. The voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, joins us each week right here on WFO Radio. We'll ask you to subscribe and click the bell and share the show and all of these different methods of pushing WFO out there. We are on location here at the Amalie Oil NHRA Gatornationals. Car on track. Simply the best. Yeah. This is Whiplash again. We got more Whiplash. All right. Staged up, ready to go. Let's see what happens out there on the starting line. Clean to 60 feet. There we go. 380 at 325 miles per hour. And getting a little closer here, Caps. Look at the screen right here. Make sure you're on there. There he is.
I was wondering if you were going to be on screen or just podcasting.
You don't have to sit in my lap, though.
I like you, Joe.
Oh, man, that's good. What's up, champ? How you doing?
Was Reinhart this close?
No.
What if we do this?
Buddies. This is a buddy flick. That way I don't even have to go back.
Last time we were sharing a Jaeger bomb.
Yes. That wasn't long ago.
Dr. Donnie was handing them to us.
Dr. Don. Oh, how's he doing? Is he going to be more involved this year? He's got to show up. I forget where it was, but someone said, oh, Don's here. They always win when Don's here.
Hagen always says that. And it was Indy that he showed up at. But he just texted me literally a few seconds ago asking about what hotel we're in Phoenix. So apparently he's coming to Phoenix.
All right. That's close. That's close. All right. So where's your head at?
Breaking news, Joe. Breaking news.
Dr. Don.
He's coming to Phoenix.
All right. Hide the never mind. I'm not going to make that joke anymore. Don't hide. All right, team owner Ron Capps. What's changed at Ron Capps Motorsports in 2023 from the championship squad that brought home the first back-to-back title in NHRA Funny Car since John Force ages ago?
Man, obviously we've talked about it. John Medlin retiring. You can't replace a John Medlin. We did move T-Buck, our car chief, up, and he's doing very well. We are not running today. We ran 3 laps yesterday. Went 393 in all 3 of them.
Really?
Yeah. Believe it or not, yeah. 327 on 2 of them and 326 on the third one, but all 393s. And so Guido's, that's all we want to do is basically last year's car, come pull the mag wires, get down the track, and not go crazy about testing a lot of stuff before we kick off the season. So other than that, I mean, little things we're adding. I think today the press release is going out where we are adding Champion spark plugs, which is making a return back into drag racing. I had them with Don Prudhomme years ago. Great company, a very historic, a lot of legacy with that company. I was pulling up some old posters and stuff. I have the James Dean one at home, but there's one from 1936. So obviously my grandfather had a lot of that stuff where he tested the spark plugs in his garage. And so we're announcing they are joining our Napa Auto Care team. So that's exciting, little things like that.
But the spark plug wars in drag racing, my goodness. It's so good because this is an example for the other corporations out there. We have a legitimate spark plug war going on. I'm not going to mention the other companies right now, but they're all involved in a big way in drag racing. I have like 4 now.
Well, I don't mind mentioning, but it is. Yeah, we got one that sponsors a few races. So yeah, but for us, it is it's something that's even bigger because it's something Guido and these crew chiefs, they're all like cooks, right? They're like these famous cooks on these cooking shows. They've all got their own ingredients, their own way of making whatever that product is, that soup or whatever it might be. And you go out on the track and they're within hundreds of thousands of seconds with completely different parts and the way they approach things. But Champion is used a lot out here. So to have that as a partner is going to be a lot of fun.
I love that you're bringing on new sponsors. Like that's important, right? It's not just, let's cut out to the track.
Whoa. Is that a funny car driver out there? Who was that? Oh.
There it is. Runs 77 at 327. And that's how we're going to conclude our show today with Justin. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, he was all over the place. Now, didn't you say just the other day, you said you want to drive a top fueler before it's all over? You want to go back. You said that publicly. What are you doing? I know that, but he wants to go back. Like
eventually. I don't want to not go back. I want to go back and race Antron and Dougie, and I've been trying to get Dougie to come to Funny Car. He is Doug Coletta should be in a funny car. There's no doubt about it. If you ever watched him at Winchester and places in the midgets, back on Thursday Night Thunder, and he's a funny car guy. But I would love to go back in Top Fuel and maybe late in my career, and who knows. But yeah, it's weird how we have all these friends and brothers and sisters out here racing each other and teammates that I've had in the past, and I never get to actually line up against some of them.
Was this your most unlikely championship? Because you had a couple of championships now that they're very dramatic. They're always very dramatic. And this one, I recall you at the SEMA show, and you were up on the NHRA stage, and I was rolling on it, and you're given this like logic about why it was possible. And I remember thinking to myself, yeah, he's got to say that, right? He's got to convince himself of that one way or another. But then it happened. It happened pretty much as you played it out. But the way it all went down, now that you've had some time to dwell on it, and the back-to-back championships, 3-time champion, how do you think about that championship?
Yeah, it's kind of funny you brought that up, because you have to think that, because I want my crew members, I want people around me, I want my sponsors, I want those people that support us to believe that we have a chance, which we mathematically had a chance. And look, when we lost early in Vegas, I went to the hotel with the family, and I was trying to turn off that mode because I was not happy, and tried to go have some fun with the family. And that night, and when Robert went out a little earlier than we thought he was going to win the race, it opened a little more of a door, because we had more points in Pomona. So when somebody gave me the word, I forgot who called me, and I said, wow, that made it a little better. But at the SEMA show, we got a chance. We're mathematically in it. We've seen people do it, but you're talking about the team of Jimmy Prock and Robert Hite. So we thought we had a chance, and we knew we had the team to do it, but it's a lot of talk at that point, right? I mean, it's a lot of just PR stuff, knowing we had the chance. But that's what makes that championship so cool. And I know, I ran into Forrest yesterday, and he made a joke, but it certainly wasn't. There were a lot of people upset with the countdown, the way the points were. Well, let me tell you about who's the person that's lost the most championships on the last day of the season.
Who would that be?
By less than a handful of points. I guarantee I've got way more losses and way more winters that I went to bed, laid in there, waking up in the morning. Watch JR real quick here. My Toyota teammate. Nice. Good run.
Ran an 88 last time, runs a 90 right here. There was 333 last time, 332. They're on rails, looking really good here at the start of 2023, at least in the test.
Yeah, that was great. We got the new 2023 Super Body, and it's fun to trade information and talk about things. We've got so much backing with all the Toyota people here, so that'll make them all happy. But going back to championship, listen, the first year of the countdown, and I don't know, Kevin McKenna can tell me if I'm wrong, but I pretty much remember that was the first time I thought we were going to win a championship had the normal point system been in effect, because we were that year leading by a lot, and we had it taken away. But have you ever heard me in all those years of losing by 6 points or by 4 points or 3 points to Beckman, to Selzy, to Force, ever heard me complain about the countdown ever once in any of your interviews? No, because it is what it is. We all know it going in. And trust me, to leave Pomona and wake up Monday morning after you've lost the championship by less, and you think back of so many places during that season and that countdown, that if you would have just done something a little bit different and gained an extra 4 or 5 points there, you would be a world champion. It's that little a difference. So when people start talking about somebody's not happy, I don't give a shit. I really don't, because I've been there way more than anybody else, and I never complained about it. We're on cable. Can I say that?
Yeah, he can. You're all right. Online. We're on.
Riled up. I've been listening to it all winter long, and I'm kind of tired of it now. Now it's starting to irritate me, because it's like, okay, yeah, countdown, yeah.
Well, especially given the unique nature that you just put out there. Like, you felt the pain multiple times. Yeah. And what you just described, like, hey, we've got this great system, and you're finally going to win a championship under that system. And they change just when you learn the answers, they change the question.
That year, it was the countdown. It was countdown of the championship. It was different format, but we knew it. Yeah. I never complained about it. I laughed about it. I mean, so get over it.
Right.
Get over it. It's a championship. It's a countdown. We all know it.
A little aggravation there at the start of the season, a little bit.
I just did 2 interviews on the phone leading up to here, and it was the same questions about the countdown and people complaining about it.
Yeah, but I didn't ask that.
No,
though.
You didn't. No.
I didn't ask that question. But is this your most difficult championship or whatever?
Yeah, but it was, your original question was, it was the one that we didn't expect as much. The 2016, we clinched it Saturday night.
Right.
I rolled in late to warm the car up. Tober was waiting on me Sunday morning because we celebrated. All of us did. So we still wanted to win the race on Sunday, but it was a unique situation to claim the championship before even going to race day. Of course, last year, the year before, 2021, to wait to have to win it for somebody to get knocked out, that was a little bit different, but I always wanted to pull off the Tony Schumacher or to come from behind, which is what we did. And a lot of things had to happen, and they did, but we put ourselves in that position. So, it's a different championship. But it's just as cool.
Very exciting. All right, we got our Top Fuel world champion on track, Brittany Force. Changes at that team. Max Savage no longer there. Mac is now on Force's car. Speaking of becoming a funny car guy, and Grubby over there kind of handling the deal. That's kind of an interesting situation.
Yeah, Force, they're real good about just moving people around, and that's one thing that's always impressed me with. He's such a motivator with people, and you see them float around. And I've got a lot of them working on my car that used to work there. Obviously, T-Buck, our new assistant, worked on John's and Robert's car. Let's watch Brittany here. Oh, I knocked the belt off there. But so we have a lot of people because Guido was at Forces for so long, a lot of team guys. So, yeah, you see them float around. And, I mean, the big move I think was Cunningham. And
talking about it. That's a big deal for Chris, huge deal for Chris. And coincidentally, his driver is going to be up next.
Speaking of a Prock. Yeah, we had a CHE, one of our sponsors, had a dinner at PRI. And it's pretty cool because all the crew chiefs that battle each other all year long, Jimmy and his wife and Guido and Kelly and my wife and I, we all went to dinner. I had some dirt racing engine builders that were there. It's a great St. Elmo's dinner we do every year. Well, Jimmy brought his oldest son, and it was cool because we found out that night that they were moving people around. Cunningham was there as well at the dinner. And so I was excited to hear when they finally announced it, but I thought that was cool that both Austin driving and then their eldest son, who went to NASCAR land for a while and is coming back and going to be working with Jimmy. So
I thought Thomas was going to end up on Austin's car. I didn't think
that rumor was out there too. Yeah.
I didn't think that it would happen the way it did, but hey, good luck this year. Appreciate you killing some time with me on WFO and appreciate the genuine honesty. That's what this sport needs. I just came from that Pro Mod race down there, and just like straight talk, right? No worry about these guys or those guys or how will it affect me or anything. And people were really loving it. And that's what you just gave us, man. Straight
because a lot
talk.
of them don't have sponsors. Some do, but you don't see major sponsors. So that's when we all had to sort of back up and just think a little bit more before we say certain things sometimes, except when we're on WFO.
Exactly. And when you become a 3-time champ, then suddenly you're inoculated against all of it. That's true. Sometimes, once you ascend to a certain level, which I believe you are now at. So speak freely, Ron Capps. Speak freely.
It's called latitude, right?
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Ron.
For the day.
There it is. Ron Capps. Way to go. He is your reigning and back-to-back funny car world champion. All right, let's get Austin, the aforementioned Austin Prock, coming in. As I believe that's Antron Brown out there on the racetrack. Here's Austin coming in, AB out there on the track. So let's start where Ron left off. Chris Cunningham, South Floridian, Darrell Gwynn connection, comes off your dad's car where he has been, like, you had to have had a great relationship with him. But that shocked me. I was like, oh, I didn't expect that, but it's actually very cool. Tell us how that all came together, and we'll check out Antron as it happens.
Yeah, I was actually surprised as well. It's pretty tough to go and break up, one of the best duos in drag racing for the last 7 or 8 years. So, but I'm really lucky to have Chris, him and my dad, they're on the same page. They work really well together, and he's going to bring a lot of that knowledge over to our car. So I'm looking forward to it. Him and Joe are already, blending really well with each other. They're both laid back and, have good personalities. So they're enjoyable to be around. But, I'm just looking forward to get going because we've had a pretty stout test session so far.
Well, of course you did. Here's Antron. Clicks it coming up on the 8th mile. Of course you did, after the way you finished last season with your best run, your best race, your best everything, best. Tobler goes like this. See you later. And then Chris comes over. But to me, he's been working with your dad. Thomas goes over. I thought Thomas was going to be your guy. Like when you were teasing us on WFO at that time, did you already know everything at that point?
Yeah, I knew most of it. There was talk about putting Thomas over there. Joe would have enjoyed working with Thomas as well. He's a really intelligent kid, so I'm glad he's getting his opportunity as well. But him and my dad are working good together, and my dad's bringing up the next generation, my brother, and then Nate Hadal as well, and they're both really smart kids, and they're going to grasp onto it pretty quick.
The way you finished, and now you said you're having a stout test. So let's start off with the test. Like how you just went down a little bit right there. Tell us, what you've done and how you're feeling.
Yeah, Ron and Joe left us with a great playbook to start the season with. So kudos to them. And we got out here a couple weeks ago and started where we left off. And right out of the box, I shut it off at 660 feet, and it went 70 flat. So pretty stout numbers, and finished the test session with a low 60 as well. So we come out again this week and struggled yesterday, had our spare car out, just fine tuning everything in case of an emergency, and then made 2 hits today, and both were really good. The track's hot and greasy.
Just went an 80, right?
Yeah, the track's hot and greasy right now, and the success rate was low. So we're still getting our, we changed some things around in the bell housing, and we're still getting our, hot track setup going, but that was a nice stout run for us.
And it was cool because we were watching you go down the track, and then Austin Prock is on WFO Radio. If that doesn't make you want to subscribe like immediately to this show, I don't know what would, right? Like you were just there and now you're here.
Yeah, I'm all sweaty still. Just got out of the car going 326 and smoked it right back up here a little bit slower than that. But, I'm just having a blast. I appreciate you having me on the show. And that last run, it was pretty fun to drive because the track's really technical right now. So they lined me up way outside of the groove, and I had to navigate it back into the center of the groove, and it all went well. It's really fun when the crew chief puts a little trust in you like that.
Okay, so we got the Pep Boys Top Fuel All-Star call-out, right? The way you ran the second half of the season in the countdown, I think you got more points than anybody else in the countdown, and you shed all of the struggles from early season. It was really a tale of 2 seasons. And now going into 2023, it's almost like a fresh start. We don't like to see you frustrated. We like to see you happy. We got Paul Lee out there on the racetrack. He's hopefully going to join us here in a few minutes as well. But just kind of walk me through that experience and go into the offseason knowing like we got to where we knew we could get.
Yeah, it just shows the growth that the team had, and the growth in me as a person. We had a lot of lows in the season, and you got to take them. You got to take them with strides, and that was a good learning lesson for me. And to always keep your head up and keep navigating. And Joe and Ron, they were really good cheerleaders for that, keeping the team morale up and things like that, because it got ugly there for a little while. Everybody was beat up. This sport will do that to you, but we prevailed, and it shows how strong the team was.
Well, wisdom. That's like a wisdom. You go through an experience, you have an experience, you think, oh man, did I handle that great or not, or I don't know, and then you use that for the next time it comes, and you handle it in front of everyone. We were just talking to Ron, like when you hit the car, okay, not a good deal, but nobody questions how much you care.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this sport, and I show my emotions. I'm really happy when the highs are high and really low when the lows are low. So just trying to balance those. That comes with age and experience, like you said, wisdom. But I'm young and I'm still learning. So as long as I learn from my mistakes and don't make them again, then we're doing all right.
Those cars, they don't hit back, but they can hurt. Gatornationals, this event, the significance of this event, the 54th, it's just so big. It's hard to convey because there's a U.S. Nationals, obviously huge. The finals are huge. E-Town was huge back in the day, but just give me your impression of this race and how you've taken it in over the years. And I know your dad has had success. Tell everybody out there, like if they're picking a race to go to, maybe it's too late for this year, but this is huge.
Yeah, this is a huge race. This was the first racetrack to have a car go 300 miles an hour. And, the weather this weekend, it keeps heating up. It was looking cool. And I thought we might see the first 300 of the 8th this weekend. It would be really spectacular to do it here with Kenny doing it to the quarter mile and show how far the sport's come. But it's always a big event. We have the call out, the Pep Boys call out this weekend, and that's going to add some excitement. The drivers get to call each other out and add a little drama into it. And
where are you in the queue on that? In the pick?
I'm 7th right now, so I'll have to do my pick in second round, hopefully. So if we keep running like we have been, I think we'll have a good shot at winning that deal.
That's awesome. And I love the call out. Now that we saw it once, like the first time we were here and it went one way. And then when Robert called out Tasca at the U.S. Nationals, I think everybody just clicked. Like, that's how it should be. That's how it should be. So I wonder, are you thinking you might get called out, or you might I don't know if that would be a good call. I know Brittany's not going to call you out. I know that.
Yeah, I don't know who will call us out. It's hard telling, especially being at the first race of the year. And I said it the other day in one of our interviews. It's going to show who did their homework the best over the offseason, because you're dropping the door and you're racing for $80,000. So, we've had a little bit of test here, but still, it takes a while to get in your strides. And it's going to show that, the crews and crew chiefs that did their homework the best. Races are won in the shop, in my opinion. And that's going to be exciting for everybody.
Doug Coletta on tracks, running the canopy this year. That's kind of cool. You've been running the canopy for years. What's your, we never really talk about it, but is there, Doug Coletta, I don't think he's going to have any problem switching from one to the next, but it's kind of interesting to see them do that.
Yeah, Doug, he's very talented, so it ain't going to hold him back any, but I love seeing that canopy on race cars. My brother Thomas Prock actually designed that at John Force Racing, so it's really cool for me to drive, and cool to see, multiple cars out here having it now.
Yeah, exactly. And I like the fact that we have two. Let's walk through this run. Tell me what you see.
All right. Nice shallow stage. And I've done that a few times.
What you see out there, Austin?
I saw a lot of tire smoke. If it were me driving it, I would have gave her a little bit of a rev up down there to get her off the track. But, that's just my personal take on it. When I suck like that, I want to get out of the thing.
Blew him off, man. Blew him off, right? It's getting hot out there. Austin, thank you very much for joining us here on WFO. Good luck this season. It's going to be great. We were going up and down the points, trying to figure out who got worse. Nobody got worse. Everybody got better. Those two Coletta cars are going to be good. Everyone's going to be good. Clay, halfway through the year, it's going to be a war out there. It's got to be just so exciting to be one of the drivers, but also got to keep you on the edge.
Yeah, absolutely. I love a nice stiff competition. We went into last year saying the same thing, and I don't think we let anybody down on the competition side of things. The whole class as a whole, and it's only going to get tougher this year. So it's going to be great racing. It's turning into Nitro Pro stock. You're winning races by a few thou, and you got to be on your game on the starting line. So putting more hands-on into the driver's hands, it's definitely fun for us drivers, and competition is great. It always makes you improve.
All right, Austin, very good. Good luck this year. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Yep, thank you.
There he goes, Austin Prock with us here on WFO Radio. You can see track prep going on. How about that? Great stuff. Amazing to be out here once again. The off-season shows, everybody, I really appreciate you all for being so supportive in the off-season shows, but this is so different. It's so different to see cars on track and be up here at Gainesville Raceway, and just unbelievable. All right, let's bring in our next guest, Mr. Justin Ashley, going to be joining us. Did I tell you that Phillips Connect, big sponsor, WFO Radio, and here he is, Justin Ashley, for the first time in 2023. What's up, Justin? We just saw you on track. We saw Austin on track, saw you on track. Tell me about that run. Refresh my memory.
Yeah, so I actually just went down the track. I came directly to see you, Joe. That's how much I care about WFO. So I really got to take a look and break down the time slip. But I think we went at 377. So it's all about testing, going back, looking at that data, looking about that information, and just continuing to improve and get better. But overall, feel good about the results.
You might not like me, and I understand that. But the drivers like the show, so you should definitely click subscribe and share and be a part of the WFO universe. Not for me, for them. All right, look back at last year. Like they say, the sports guys, you are an athlete. You played football. You love sports. I know that. Mets fan, Jets fan. But there's a cliche that says you got to come close and lose one by a whisker to fully understand how to win one. Now, I'm sure there are examples of people who have just won their first, but you now have that experience. How does that guide you going into this year? Is it just forget about last year? Is it learn from last year? Is it in your mind? Are you just excited for a fresh start? Tell us where your head's at.
Well, I think it's probably more so than anything else, a little bit of everything. I think first and foremost, we got to learn from what happened last year. I think that we don't look at it in a microscope. We look at it as a whole. And when you look at the whole season, I think we did really well. And we struggled a little bit down the stretch, and we have a lot that we can learn from, a lot of different ways that we can improve. So we're going to learn from that aspect. But just the experience part of it, you can't buy experience. You can't buy time. So now heading into this year, heading into the countdown, having that experience this time around should make for a much bigger difference. So we have a lot of experienced guys on the team between Mike Green, Tommy Delago, and all the other personnel that we have. And now that I've been through one countdown myself, I really think it's only going to make us better.
Does that there's some people that I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to think about that, right? I think about the run against Clay. Like, to me, the run against Clay, like, that's where that was it. And they've got a new team and they don't give a rat about what's going on with you. And they put a run out there and got you. Caps was just here talking about staying awake at night, all those championships. He lost a couple of points. Not that you're dwelling on it, but are you okay hearing about it and thinking about it?
Yeah, absolutely. It really doesn't bother me, to be honest with you. Look, I mean, I think that, when people say, oh, you don't want to hear about it, or does it add any extra motivation for you? It's, well, we're always motivated. It doesn't matter. I think something's wrong if that adds extra motivation, because you're always that much more motivated to win a championship, to win a race for Phillips Connect, for Toyota, for all of our partners. So that motivation stays the same. And it's in the past. I don't worry about it anymore. We're just focused on 2023, and we have to be. The Top Fuel field this year is incredible. It is stacked. Last year, I said, okay, it can't get any better than this. Now look, it continues to grow. It continues to develop. It's going to be an absolute fight from start to finish starting this weekend.
Considerably better. It's amazing how the field from last year to this year has gotten better. The performance of the Coletta cars coming up, that's going to happen. That's going to make it a lot tougher out there. Austin, who was just here, you guys ran in a couple of finals. You find your way to the final. It's going to be vicious out there. You're great on the starting line. Actually, last year you went through, you got this great rep as being a lever. And then there was a period where you had kind of lost it, but then it came back. I don't necessarily want to reveal like why that happens, but that had to be an interesting, like, what's going on? Like, why can't I leave? And then you got it back. You figured it out just in time. You feel like you got all your horses, Mike Green, Tommy DeLago, all those guys, Dustin, of course. You've shown that you've got a horse that can win this fight.
Yeah, we certainly do. It's about the team. I mean, I'm, honored to be able to drive this car, but we have a big team, right? It takes a group of 10 to 12 guys and girls that are able to do this in an elite and a high level, and each team is better than the next out here. But yeah, we have the right horses. We certainly have the right team in place. These guys have won a combined numerous championships. And then you have another on the outside looking in, my father who's won championships, a guy like Jim Epler, who's an Indy winner before this. So all of their influence all adds up to a lot of experience, a lot of wins, a lot of championships. And we definitely have the right personnel, the right people in place.
So what's it going to take though? Like, are we going to see like low 60s and with the right conditions? You have to be able to throw down. You were running so well. What is it going to take to be a consistent semifinalist and end up in that too fast, too tasty bonus race, rematch race? Like, that's kind of a fun thing this year. But what kind of performances do you believe it's going to take?
Well, I think there's very little margin for error, right? As opposed to a few years ago, you might be able to smoke the tires and get past a round or two. Well, now that might be the case, but a lot less. You're going to see that a lot less often. And in terms of performance, you're going to see mid 360s, I think, on a consistent basis, especially as we get a little bit further into the year, as we head into the fall. I think that you'll see, the top half of the field be 367, 368, or even better, just because everyone out here can run that good and can run that fast. So I definitely think that performances from our team, but from everybody out here, are going to increase, and it's going to bring out the best in the drivers, the best in the teams, the best in the sponsors, the media, the best in everybody.
You got everybody back? Like, did the whole team come back? And I know it's so tough, guys. You got to understand, it's so hard on the crew guys, right? And so there's always some change, but do you have everybody back?
Thankfully, we have pretty much everybody back, pretty much everybody in place. The one person we're missing is Austin Arnridge, who stepped aside for the year to take a little bit of a break. Right decision for him, but we were able to fill him in with another Austin. So that worked out quite well. But yeah, pretty much for the most part, we're happy to have him and all of our personnel back, which in this sport is not an easy thing to do. And it's a critical element to finding success.
I want to mention something that I don't know that everybody saw, but I saw it and I thought it was great. And it was and I like to think that, I have the best podcast, but it's not, there's so many, it's different. When you were on with David Tyree, he is your friend. If you're a fan of the G-Men, if you love him, if you're a fan of the Patriots, you're probably upset and angry. But this guy is a high-level athlete, NFL Super Bowl winner, and he has started a show. And he's kind of coming at it from, in my opinion, like performance-based, mental side, self-help. And you went on there, right? And you have a good relationship that I don't know where it was formed, but you could tell that you guys are friends. And he's curious and interested about drag racing, but knows very little. And you were in the unique situation. And guys, you can go find it. It's still we would call it evergreen in the sport, because you could watch this thing 2 years from now and it would still be good. But just talk a little bit about your relationship with David. We got to get him out to the track and showcasing what you do and trying to draw analogies to what he does. I thought was very interesting and illuminating to watch you do that. And you've played football, obviously, so you've got some things, but I found it to be interesting. Talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, it really was really interesting. Normally you might have an opportunity to speak with someone who's interested but not familiar with drag racing, but normally not someone who's an elite level athlete. I mean, David is a great guy. He's a successful businessman, but he was also very successful as an athlete. He had probably the greatest catch in Super Bowl history, maybe one of the greatest catches in NFL history. So to be able to sit there and draw comparisons to NHRA drag racing from NFL football was really a great experience. And there are plenty of comparisons. It takes a team, it takes a strategy, it takes each and every person out there focused solely on doing their job the very best that they can to find success. And obviously we have 11,000 horsepower. This is different than any other sport, but there are a lot of comparisons that you can draw. And I think for a lot of people out there, we'd love to see David. We'd love to see his family come out to an NHRA event and experience it himself.
So David, what's the plan, man? We got to get you.
We're waiting for you, David.
We are waiting for you. But he sounded interested, though. Sometimes there's lip service, like, yeah, I'll go. Once we get them here, whoever this person is we're talking about rhetorically, but it's that one time, like to get to the city we're in, to get to the racetrack in the morning, to be a part of the team. But I think he's the kind of guy that once he sees this or comes and hangs out with you, it's over. He's hooked.
Yeah, I agree. I also think he's the type of guy that's going to be hooked. He's an adrenaline junkie, right? He loved playing at an elite level. So anybody who comes out to watch an NHRA drag race, Tony Stewart said it, right? I mean, it is an incredible experience. You could watch it on TV. It's awesome to watch it on Fox, but it's a sensory experience. So for David, for all the fans out there, once you come, you are absolutely hooked. And I know that David himself and his family will absolutely love it.
Robert Hight on track. Walk us through what you see out there, Justin.
Well, the first thing I see as he's getting ready to stage is a new body, right, in that flavor pack car. So that's a little bit of a unique thing. We're used to seeing Robert in that AAA body. So let's see what happens here and smoke, right? So it could just be a case scenario of overpowering the racetrack, and that's probably what it was. And in a situation like this, that's not always bad, right? You're trying to do the very best that you can to push the limits and see how far you can push it. So even from a run like that, he only made it maybe 100, 150 feet out, if that. But they're able to learn from it and take that information. And that's really what testing's about. So I'm sure Jimmy and the guys over there have plenty to look at.
Okay, the Top Fuel All-Star call out. What's the status?
So it'll be fun, right? It'll be exciting. There's a lot of energy and excitement around it. What's unique about this year is that not only is it at the opening race, but when we're picking people, we really have no idea of how good or how bad people are running at this point in time, because last year's revisionist history. So, I mean, are you going to base it off of testing? Are you going to base it off Friday runs? So it's definitely for us going to be a team decision.
Where are you in the queue?
We are 3. So if Brittany or Steve doesn't call us out, we're going to have an opportunity to call someone out. So we've put a decent amount of thought into it. I've put a decent amount of thought into it, but ultimately it's going to be up to Mike Green, Tommy DeLago, and the whole team to make what they believe is the right decisions. I do have a few names in mind. I won't share them, but it's nothing personal. Maybe a little personal, but we'll
like personal. We like personal,
just slightly. But yeah, it'll be a fun deal. Pep Boys did an awesome job of putting this on for everybody out here. So I like it. It's a different format. I like the call out format, especially for a specialty event. So grateful to be able to compete in an event like this against the best in the world.
All right, Justin, thank you very much for making the time. Appreciate you. Good luck all year long. And thanks, of course, Phillips Connect, and you guys are supporters of the show. Hang with your dad now in Fort Lauderdale. It's kind of a cool thing.
I know, it is cool. He loves Fort Lauderdale. He's in Fort Lauderdale now. He's going to make the trip for the race. But
very smart.
Yes, go WFO. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, Justin. Appreciate it. Justin Ashley with us here on WFO Radio on location, Gainesville Raceway. All right, let's see what people got to say out there. Let's get some. You guys, I told you to stop commenting, and you stopped. Like, that was really cool, guys. We got Paul Lee is supposed to join us. Let's see. But let's get your comments in the comment section, guys. Stan Mercier is up there. Let's see. See everyone tomorrow for day 1 of the 2023 Gatornationals. Yeah, Hardcore Thursday and the big Garlits deal tomorrow night. Going to be awesome. Are they running the full 1320 instead of the 1,000-foot mark? No, they're running to the 1,000-foot mark. Pretty interesting. Monica says, so excited to see this season get started. I totally agree. And smart move by the NHRA to allow testing going on all this season. Let's check out Factory Showdown down there. Now, a lot of these factory stock cars were down at Bradenton at the World Series of Pro Mod. There were several of them there. Some were running in comp here. I think that's Doug Ham. Able to get clean through 60 feet, getting out towards the left-hand side, but he's good. 6:58 at 160. That is the 1,000-foot time for Factory Showdown. 1,000-foot time. Maybe a 790, 780, something like that. This is a good time for me to tell you about Marvin Rodak and RodaksCoffeeandGrills.com. Guys, this show doesn't happen by accident. I ran into a guy. His name was Stan. Stan's from England. And Stan is like, Joe, I used to listen to the show back in the day, man. It was so great. And I love the show and I love you and it's great. But the sponsors, the show got a little corporate is what he said. And I was like, Stan, how am I supposed to live? Like, honestly, like I got to have sponsors. How am I supposed to live? Like I can't just do everything without a sponsor. I mean, I guess, and we do have our great Patreon club, but Marvin Rodak has been there since day one. 817-924-6821, RodaksCoffeeandGrills.com. The hot sauces and the spice rubs. It's so good. So much great stuff down there in Fort Worth, Texas. Call Marvin, try the coffee, and then you'll be hooked. You'll love it for life. And Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. They are located right around Gainesville, Florida. The Dragster Adventure, a great way for you to drive a dragster out there at the Dragster Adventure. Courses start at like $400, right in the neighborhood of $400. And you're driving a dragster and understanding what it's like, the great experience. Oh, look at that. There's lunch. Great experience at Frank Hawley's. And hopefully we'll see Frank this weekend, frankhawley.com. And then, of course, there's samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. This is a different kind of sponsor, guys. Like it's a school. Stan, you don't want me to get the next generation of mechanics and engine builders and machinists. You don't want me to like connect with them and get them. Come on, Stan. All right, I'm attacking Stan. Stan is now a straw man for anybody who is against the idea of sponsorship. No, man, we've got to put the next generation of young people together with however they're going to get their education. They're approved to train veterans under the GI Bill, talking about samtech.edu, but I'm just kidding with my buddy Stan, who is out there, who may or may not be listening. And of course, tonight, Bernie's Speed Shop, 6 p.m., Ocala, Florida. It's like 10 minutes from Garlett's. Anybody that goes up and down the turnpike knows that Big Daddy Don Garlett's Museum of Drag Racing is right off the highway. Can you imagine if it wasn't right off the highway? They're killing it over there. Garlett's inducted Daryl Gwynn into the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America. Tomorrow night here at Gainesville, John Force is going into the Big Daddy Don Garlett's International Drag Racing Hall of Fame. They're both on the same week, which is just amazing. But tonight, Josh Hart at Bernie's is throwing a mega rager, man. It's going to be like Project X. It's going to be out of control. We're going to have a great time. There's going to be food. There's going to be fireworks. There's going to be fun. And if you're on your way north or you're here at the track, it's 50 minutes to go be a part of this fan fest. The state of Florida is big. That's Bernies.com. Of course, Phillips-Connect, just heard from Justin Ashley. They've got Mr. Epler and the whole team there with the smart trailer technology. FTI, Performance Transmissions and Torque Converters, FTI.com. And go to FTIperformance.com. And Power Glides, transmissions for pro mods, top sportsman, top dragster, monster trucks, mega trucks. Here's the deal. If you make huge horsepower and you need a consistent and reliable transmission, that is where FTI really excels. And they're going to be announcing this weekend a FTI challenge, like a bonus race in Fuel Tech Pro Mod that is going to happen throughout the race and qualifying, which is going to pay a little extra money to those Pro Mod racers. The Pro Mod racers, take a second, since we got FTI up there and they're involved in Pro Mod. Think about all the benefits that Pro Mod has received in the past couple of months, right? One, they're going to be on the Fox TV show. We're going to be on Fox Broadcast Network on Sunday, right before the big NASCAR race, leading into NASCAR. So you're going to have a whole afternoon of motorsports on Big Fox. Gatornationals, followed by NASCAR, right? Pro Mod is going to be part of the big show. Pro Mod has a countdown now. There's a 10-race season, 6 races regular season, 4-race countdown. That's going to be cool. They got the FTI challenge. There's just so many things going into Pro Mod. People are investing in all of our categories. Super exciting. Competition Eliminator has got their own showcase. Thanks to Roger Brogdon, they're going to do a big bonus challenge out there at the U.S. Nationals, which is going to be cool. Great time to be involved in NHRA drag racing. And yes, I know there was a time where people were like, oh, they need to do more. They're doing more. And that's what I think is so important, is that you got to give credit where credit is due. People said to do more. NHRA is doing more. bringing in sponsors, coming up with partnerships, whether you're getting exposure, or you're getting on TV, or whether you're getting extra money. Mission Foods, too fast, too tasty. I'm struggling to say it. I don't know why. Probably because I haven't had a sip of water in about 4 hours. That's okay. Let's see what's going on out on the racetrack. Factory Stock Showdown. FlexJet. Factory Stock Showdown. Ongoing. WFO merch is on sale, guys. It is on sale. Like, I don't put it on sale. Like, it's always on sale, but it's discounted. That's the thing. Like, you can get a shirt for like $16. Let's watch this Mustang. Really don't have driver information just yet. But the factory stockers, FlexJet Factory Stock Showdown machine. They were running 770s in Bradenton. Now, I don't know if they were strictly teched with NHRA Tech. Wheels up, wheels up, wheels up. Oh my goodness. All right, you're done, man. You're done. You don't have to get back on it. That was a wheel stand that was 300 feet. No doubt. 300 feet wheel stand. How great is that? We should do the show every week live from a drag race. All right, let's see what some of the comments are. So I was scheduled to be wrapping up right around now, but I know Paul Lee was going to come up. And so I'm hoping for Paul. Let's see. Here are some of the Jaeger bombs. Yeah, I've done Jaeger bombs with Ron Capps. It's fun. Scott Malpass, this Pickle Rick. Maddie's out there. What's up, Maddie? How you doing? Dugenet. Ron ain't telling any lies. That was interesting. Ron Capps got a little heated. Rightfully so, I think. Rightfully so. Was that Powick? That might have been David Davies. Oh, Chazen? All right, Dennis Chazen out there. Dugenet. Ron ain't telling any lies. He had lost more championships because of the countdown than anyone. See, I don't like to say because of the countdown. That's not because of the countdown, because somebody got more points in the rules that we had agreed upon. But that was Ron's point. But what I like is that we're starting the season off with a little friction. Like, the air is not totally clear. There's a little something. Like, the off season was spent with some people complaining, like, who's he talking about? Is he talking about the media? The media asked him. Who's he talking about? Is it, racers? Who's he, like, Forrest joked with him? The air isn't completely clear. It's not completely a fresh start. Ooh, interesting. Earl Nichols out there. I was there with Bobby Ciccone at Indy Thursday Night Thunder, running with Doug. That's very cool, Earl. Does Ron think he'll do the March meet again? That would have been great for me to ask him when he was here. Too bad. NHRA should go back to the old point system, says Keith. I disagree, Keith. I disagree. Why do you think? Let's do this exercise. So I just got into I won't call it a heated debate, but a little guy wrote me an email, and I wrote him an email back, and he was talking about the cost of tickets. And he was saying that I don't come from a regular family, so I don't know what it's like. And then I looked around and I thought, no, man, this guy doesn't know me at all. We were talking about the cost of tickets. He's saying that a ticket should be $30. Meanwhile, it was $40 in 2010. So I don't know what he's talking about. But look at Pro Mod last year. People stopped coming. Championship was over. They knew they didn't have a chance. So they went and did other things. And I think you would definitely see that if we went back to the old point system. And here's the thing about ideas. Everyone can vocalize an idea. You can say, like, this is my idea. And that's great. And it's encouraged. That's why we have shows like this. But the second we use the idea and the idea turns out to be awful and it does damage, the person who came up with the idea is going to disappear. Or they were going to attack the idea that they came up with and say that it's wrong and come up with a new idea. There's no accountability. Like, to just float an idea, like go back to the old point system. Then we will have champions probably decided. 5 races to go, 6 races to go, 7 races to go. And then teams will be like, well, it doesn't matter. Let's park the cars. Well, let's get ready for next year. Save money. No reason to be there. And then the second it happened, the person who comes up with the idea where are they? Guys, what kind of responsibility? How do we hold them accountable? You can't. There's nothing you can do to that person for coming up with an awful idea that killed the sport. And then this gentleman, he's like, slow the cars down, go back to 1320, run in the fours at 300 miles an hour. And to me, that kills the sport of drag racing, because of the 40,000 people that are going to be here this weekend, the first time that a pair of tomfoolers roll to the starting line and smash the gas, and they don't feel the feeling that they've been feeling for the past 6 years, and it's weaker and less, they're going to leave the grandstands in mass, and they're going to go home and they're going to complain, and they're never going to remember that they asked for it. And so I think that's flat wrong. I think we're on the right track. I think we've got the best, most competitive fields we've ever had, ever, as indicated by the drivers who were just here on the show. And that drag racing is in a spot that is better than ever right now. There has never been a better time. Like, look what has just happened here in the last 2 weeks. We're getting ready for a premier race, the Amalie Oil NHRA Gatornationals, which will probably be very well attended. Will it be sold out? Will it be a madhouse? We're just going to have to wait and see. But coming in off the Pro Mod race down there in Bradenton, the World Series of Pro Mod, where they had a huge crowd. They had NMCA in Orlando. You have Sick Week, Drag and Drive, nonstop successful drag racing events happening all over the place. The Snowbird Nationals, US Street, Bakersfield. I saw photographs from Bakersfield from the March meet that were amazing. It was 10 deep at the rail. Now the track holds like 7,000 people. Okay, whatever. Capacity. So why are we wasting our time thinking of like, oh, we need to go back to anything? No, we don't. No, we don't. We are on the right track. We are on the right track. We're going to be on Fox Broadcast Network. That's my thought. Okay. And, Ron, he's like, he gave me the okay to be angry at people. Just kidding. Vic is out there. Hall of Famer. Speaking of Hall of Famers, looking forward to catching up with you Friday through Sunday. Thank you, Vic. Super excited. Roger Richards. Hopefully he's headed here. I haven't seen Roger in a while. Let's see. One thing that you want to get achieved in 2023 for Austin Prock. Well, obviously win races, right? Waiting on a road call. If we had Phillips Connect, they'd already know that the tire was flat before I went to pick up the trailer. Way to go, Derek. That is an excellent point. Pickle Rick asks how I'm not sunburnt from being out in the blazing sun for 3 days last Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The answer is there's this amazing product. It's called sunblock, and I use it. You want to know which sunblock I use? I use the Neutrogena 70 on my face. That's right, 70. Bradenton to Ocala to Gainesville, best week ever. Absolutely, Lauren. Amazing. Deepenhawk says, go WFO. I'm getting through all the things. Here's the deal. I asked Paul Lee to come up. He just went on the racetrack. Let me text him. I'll text him on the air. Right? No, yes, come. Come now. Come to the tower now. And that was only 3 minutes ago. So yeah, I'll stall. I love stalling on the air. Hi, Joe. Big fan. Keep up the great work. Can you ask the DJ from the NHRA TV to dress up like a gator for the whole weekend? Will be awesome for the fans. Detail guy 317. Genius. See, this is open forum. We had some bad ideas and we just had a great idea. Jason Logan dressed as a gator. Is it possible? Can anyone out there, like Reinhart needs an SR71, I need a Pontiac block, and we need an alligator costume. Somebody make it happen. 2X. Just saying. Thanks for doing the show live at the track. Cool stuff. Lauren says they're on their way. That's right. We need you guys to share the show. Scott, if he was sunbird, I don't think the outline of the microphone on your face would be very attractive. Yeah. The humor. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Paul Lee with us, and we got funny cars on track. So your job is to tell us what you see when the funny cars go down the racetrack. But you puffed the tires around half track, I recall.
Yeah, the first run was really good run. Ran 395, 321. Good run. So we were just trying to run a little faster, and our tune-up at least didn't hold it. I mean, the track can hold it. It was just our tune-up didn't hold it. So, yeah, it smoked the tires about 300 feet.
But isn't that what we're here to do, to learn that and go through that process? So what do you do in that situation? Is it about less clutch? Is it about pull timing out? What happens?
Yep. Both of those. Yeah, a little less clutch, a little less timing. Yeah, you got it right. And so, we know we were looking for, and that's it for us for the day, for the week. So we'll be ready for Friday.
I'm excited. Got the FTI colors. We got Timmy the Tiger out there on the racetrack. That's kind of interesting. How'd you keep up with the storylines during the winter break, right? Like all the maneuvering and things going on. This was one of our big off-season stories.
Yeah, it was. And I didn't really, I mean, I heard rumors about it, but you hear rumors. It's a small world, drag racing. And you hear things and you don't really know anything until it actually comes true. It's one of those things, don't believe it till you see it.
Right. So Tim Wilkerson on track. All right. You've been in the situation. What's going on in the cockpit of that race car right now, Paulie?
Oh, he's in race mode. He's gonna act like just like this was a race, except for there's no one in the other lane. He has a single, but he's gonna try to cut a good light, try to keep it in the groove, and try to make his best run he can.
Here we go. Drifted a little left, brought it back to the center, puffed the tires coming up on the 8th mile.
Yeah, it's kind of a good seat up here. You can actually see exactly where he went. You can see the trail of tires. You can see where he went left. He brought it back to the right, and then right around half track, it looks like he went up in smoke.
Yeah, exactly. What does that feel like? I would imagine it raises you up in the car.
Well, what happens is right before it does that, it actually shakes the car pretty hard. It chatters the tires. So right when you feel that chattering, tire smoke is next. So most of the time, when it starts chattering, it's going to smoke the tires. So you pretty much just lift when you feel the chatter.
Let's talk about your team. All right. So last year was a big year. You're going to run the full year, came out of the box, stumbled a bit, reassessed, brought together a new, young, fresh team, and they went to work and you made great progress. And so at the end of last year, I would say you're a little behind where you wanted to be, but you had to go on that journey to get where you are now. So give me your assessment of yourself.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were running the 5-disc clutch for the last 4 years. And basically the way the NHRA preps the track now, the 5-disc just won't hold. I mean, if you want to run 80s, if you want to win and compete and you have to run mid 80s, the way that the track prep is now, it's not going to hold. So we had to go to the 6-disc clutch. And I actually wanted to run the 6-disc earlier, but there was reasons why we went to the 5, because we were working with Ron Tobler and he's a world champion and he knows how to run that 5-disc clutch. But
at the time that won the world championship and you bought the car that won the world championship. So it's just the reality. It wasn't that it was bad. It was just different.
Yeah. It's different. Actually, we have that car. The championship car, the one that Tobler had, it's our car that we're running right now. We just had it front half, the DSR this year. So it's a brand new chassis, when you get a new front half, it's like having a new car. But the times have changed. And if you can run 90s, no problem with the 5-disc. But if you want to compete for wins, you got to run the 6-disc. And luckily enough, John Force Racing was kind enough to help us out. And we bought all brand new 6-disc clutch truss from JFR. And they gave us a baseline tune-up, and that's where we're working from.
Tremendous. And nobody, I don't want to say nobody, but the 5 discs, who's got one now? I can't think of someone.
Well, not anybody that runs in the 80s. I mean, the track just won't hold it. It rips the clutch right out of it. I mean, the track is so good that the tires grab, something has to give, and it's the clutch. And it just rips the clutch right out of it. We pretty much blew the clutch out of it almost every run last year. So, I mean, it was inevitable. We just tried to get through the year. And in the off season, we knew we were going to make this change.
Dustin Heim, Jason Bunker, both relatively young guys. Not young. They're not like 20, but in their crew chief life, they both have had great experience, though, and they both come from different areas. So talk a little bit about the team and how those guys came together and the chemistry and how you worked. And you've got a great marketing program with Steve Cole going on. There's like a lot going on behind the scenes that I don't know everybody knows and appreciates, but you're forging something that when things gel, there's too much experience to have it not be a good thing.
Well, it's like any business. You're building a business, and that's what this race team is. It's a business. Let's face it. We're not out here just to have fun, go down the track. We're here to build a program for the future. That's what we bought on. Dustin Heim, who was very experienced, Ron Tobler's assistant for many, many years, very experienced guy. Jason Bunker, they're both have never been crew chiefs before, but I gave them their chance. I'm giving them their chance, and I truly believe they have the talent to do it. Someone has to give them a chance, right? So
someone has to give young people a chance. Otherwise, you'll have a brain drain when the older folks retire and they don't want to do it anymore. You won't have anyone who has any experience, and we kind of experienced that.
I was just going to say, what you beat me to it. We have that now, basically. I mean, there's a handful of crew chiefs, right? And let's face it, this is a mechanical sport. If you don't have your crew chiefs making a good race car, doesn't matter how good of a driver you are, you're not going to win without a good car. But in drag racing, that's the way it is. But yeah, giving those guys a chance. We got some very experienced guys. Seth Randall is a very experienced car chief. Steve Cole, a very experienced marketing manager. He's doing a great job. Krista Baldwin is our Top Fuel teammate. And all those together, we're building for the future. We want to build a race team that can compete for wins. That's our goal.
I love that idea. This weekend, you'll be flying the FTI Performance colors. The car looks great. Transmission company, we were just talking about them. Very big in Pro Mod. Got a big announcement this weekend, how FTI Challenge, I believe it is called. The rules, it's like reaction time and elapsed time. There's a whole thing. I'm not exactly up on it, and maybe you are, maybe you're not, but we're going to know by the time we start the race here this weekend. But investing in those cars, .90, big money bracket racing. This company, FTI, you bought it a couple of years ago, but they have rocketed to the front of this area, a very specialized business, transmissions.
Yeah. It's torque converters, racing transmissions and torque converters. 95% of our business is the bracket racer, the guys out here racing super comp, super gas, pro mod, half of the pro mod fields runs FTI, even if they don't have a sticker. A lot of these guys don't want other people to know what they're running. So we know who they are. And we have a lot of cars out there, and especially FTI Performance. It's about 2 hours from here in DeLand. So we have a big Florida presence here. So this is like home race for FTI. So we want to make a big presence, run the FTI funny car, support the pro mod races who support us. We like giving back to the racers.
Excellent. Last weekend I was out and saw the other side of it. Like you got to think about the driveline, right? McLeod clutches, FTI. What is it about that? Is that just random business opportunities in the driveline, or you got to think for that?
No, it's our core competency, which means it's our specialty. We started with McLeod clutches, which is manual transmissions and clutches, and then we expanded into automatic transmissions, torque converters. And we also have Silver Sport transmissions, which provides all Tremec transmission kits for the hot rodder and muscle car guy. So our goal is to become a driveline specialist. There's a lot of conglomerates like Holley and race winning brands. They're out there buying all kinds of companies, but we stick with what we know best as driveline. Our goal is to be, whatever driveline need you have, you can come to us.
That is exciting. All right, let's talk a little bit about this Too Fast, Too Tasty challenge that's happening this year, because I think everyone has always asked for more opportunity, more money, and more excitement. And that's what this is going to do. It's going to, if you make it to the semifinals here at the Gatornationals and go to Phoenix, you will re-race your opponent that you ran at the Gatornationals for money, but also for points after the cutoff of the countdown next year. I think the fans, I don't know if they fully understand how significant each one of those races is going to be. What is your take of the whole program?
I think it's a great idea. I don't know who came up with it, but it's really smart because it gives a lot more meaning to Saturday. Okay. We have Friday, Saturday qualifying, but on Saturday, it's like having another race. I think it's a brilliant idea. I love it. I can't wait.
Yeah. It's going to be, Saturday is always a good crowd anyway, but just the cars going down the racetrack, right? And I would always tell people, there's this thing about I want to see all the cars. I don't want to see, the cars after people have gone home. I want to see all the cars. Well, now you get to see all the cars and you get to see elimination racing.
That's absolutely right. I mean, Saturday is going to be a redo from the previous race. I'm excited. I hope to make a few of those.
Well, I think you will. And that's why I bring it up. I think, and that brings us to, goals for the season. You have to set goals. That's important. And, we want to win. Yes, I know you want to win, but what is realistic goals for the season that would make you feel happy if we're talking here at the Auto Club Finals at In-N-Out Burger Raceway?
Yeah, well, and
I saw In-N-Out Burger Finals.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in 2020, we finished number 9. So we were in the top 10. That was a good goal. Now we're doing that goal. We made a lot of investment. We got, like I said previously, a front half car. We bought 2 brand new late model Dodge Charger bodies. So we have the latest bodies. And of course, like I mentioned, the aforementioned 6-disc clutch setup. So we made a lot of changes and a lot of money invested, into people, and your business is your people. So, I mean, to get to your question, my goal is to finish in the top 10 and to at least win a race. That's a goal that I think is realistic. And that's what we're shooting for. Win a race and try to finish in the top 10.
I agree. I like that. I think it's very realistic, and the thing is coming together. It doesn't come together automatically. And that's the struggle with drag racing. It always takes longer than you'd expect.
Yeah, it's been 40 years. So it's been a long time. I mean, I've been doing this since 1988. I've been driving alcohol funny cars, and And it's been my goal is to win races, to try to compete for a championship someday, but one step at a time. Let's try to win a race and finish in the top 10 and go from there.
So Garlett's Hall of Fame is tomorrow night. You're a Jersey guy, Knapp family going into the hall. I would love for, you mentioned you've been driving alcohol funny cars all these years. I know there's a lot of experience at E-Town. We're all very sad about that, but the Knapp family is going in. Richard and Vinny as Leah and her sublime dragster burns out across the starting line. But just talk a little bit about E-Town and the Knapp family and how that facility and their creation is one of the reasons you're sitting here right now.
Well, it is the reason I'm sitting here right now. I mean, I grew up in New Jersey. I grew up going to the Summer Nationals since I was in 7th grade. I didn't miss the Summer Nationals from the time I was in 7th grade. I mean, it's my hallowed ground. It's like when I used to go there and pull into the front gate there, I would get goosebumps. And I even get goosebumps thinking about it. I just love that place. It was my home. And it's heartbreaking for a lot of guys from the Northeast that they took that away from us. But that was my home, man. I always dreamed of building a house across the street someday, from the track and living across the street from there. That's how much it meant to me. I mean, that's where I got my license. I got my Super Pro license there. I got my Top Alcohol Funny Car license there. And so I have more laps probably at Englishtown. Of course, I raced Super Pro there for many, many years before I even raced alcohol funny cars. So I have more laps still at that track than any other track. So, yeah, I miss it a lot.
Yeah, me too. Paul, thank you very much. Let's walk us through this run as Leah goes down the track.
Yeah, well, she's going to try to cut a light. Obviously, she's getting ready for race day. Oh, yeah, she blew the tires off right out there. But, yeah, she was right on the tree. I mean, that's what she's shooting for. I mean, a driver, when you're going out there in these practice sessions, you're still trying to hit the tree. You're trying to, get in a routine for a race day. We've had a long off season, so you're just getting back in the groove.
I like it. Paul, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Thank you for supporting WFO Radio, by the way, with FTI. And, obviously, fair disclosure, I love telling the story about FTI Performance Transmissions and Torque Converters because, Paul is the owner and is supporting the show. So thank you for that.
Thanks for having me. It's good to see you, Joe.
Yeah,
thanks. Hope to see everybody this weekend at the Gatornationals.
We're going to come on out. All right. Sit tight for a second. I'm going to wrap up the show. And then I got to tell you a little about something that you might be interested in. Guys, that's going to do it. Appreciate all you folks out there. If you're listening on the audio only podcast, thank you very much. Subscribe, click the bell. We are going to have ourselves a great weekend out here at Gainesville. And we are hoping to have an amazing experience. So if you're anywhere near Gainesville Raceway, we want you to come on out. But that's going to do it on location here at Gainesville Raceway. Remember, WFO merch, fire shirt on sale. It's all on sale right now. You can pick it up. You can join our Patreon Listeners Club. You can just wait till the day you need a performance racing transmission and then call these guys. But those are all great ways to support WFO. All right, guys, that's going to do it. We'll see you next time right here on WFO Radio, and we'll leave you off with a little view of the track. Thank you so much, WFO. We'll see you this weekend.